Hi guys, Chris again from Broken Up RC. Just wanted to make a quick video on RC tools. I actually uploaded a video early this week and realized it was a really bad, disorganized mess. Plus, I'm trying to get the camera settings on yet another camera, which is kind of crazy. You'd think I'd just decide to go with one and leave with it, but whatever. Yeah, so anyway, I thought this is probably going to end up being a little series. It's just because I need to chop it down into little bits. So today I wanted to talk about drivers. And I traditionally watch a lot of YouTube, especially over the last few years. Not so much this year because sometimes it can be a bit much. However, I'm just picking out a guy like right off the top of my head. This guy, Kevin Talbot. The guy that bashes everything. When I started watching him a few years ago, he still does it today, but everything was X-Max with him. And you'd see his little workshop, and he would have like 4 or 5 of these DeWalt impacts, these like 20 volt impacts on the bench. And I'm assuming they all had different bits in them, although X-Maxes only really need 2 sizes of bits, maybe? I don't know. I don't have an X-Max, so I don't know. Anyway, I'm not trashing on him, but this video is kind of for people that are starting out. Maybe they have like 1 or 2 rigs, or they have a crawling rig and they get a basher after a while, and that kind of thing. And they're a little lost as to what direction to go tool-wise. You don't need a lot of crazy tools for this hobby, really. And you definitely don't need impacts. It's strange. I'll watch like even West Desert Wheeler. He like cranks out this big old 12 volt or 20 volt drill to work on the stuff. And you're like, dude, really? Anyway, I'm not from a place to judge, but normally you don't need. I've got big stuff from my SCX6. I've got Armas, there's a Creighton and a Mojave, and I've got UDR and this, that, and the other, and all kinds of crazy stuff. But it's very varied. You don't need 500 pounds of torque to work on this stuff. The biggest I've seen wheel-wise on like a Creighton is 17 millimeter. To like 10 millimeter on an SCX6. Most of the stuff, I think there's a few 3 millimeter heads on an SCX6 somewhere. I just seem to recall there was a 3 mil. But anyway, you don't necessarily need an impact. It's kind of overkill. And you really have to watch your torque. It takes a while to even use a regular drill to keep from stripping out, especially you're going from plastic to plastic. I am kind of with, Matt, Scale Builders Guild, and Josh Harley. He's local here, and that's the DeWalt. This guy's great. It's 8 volts. It's ready to go. It has a clutch, so it's highly adjustable. There is a gyro in it, which takes a little getting used to, but is not too bad. It took me a couple days, but now I kind of dig it. In fact, if I use something without a gyro, I'm like twisting like this all the time. I looked at the prices. These, when I got mine, it came with a bag and a charger and 2 of these 8 volt batteries for like a flat $100. You could find some sellers on Amazon that still honor that price, but like Home Depot and the others, I think they raised it about $120. Now, I'm not recommending you go out and do that. There are cheaper alternatives out there. All you have to do is look up quarter scale driver, quarter scale screwdriver. And I've had the Ryobi in years past, and those have been really good, but they're about 4 volts. They kind of, even with the torque setting all the way up, you kind of run out of poop after a while. 4 volts is a little lean, but you can get by with it just fine. And there are tons of 4 volt screwdrivers on Amazon under $50 or under $30 or that kind of thing. There are DeWalt has a version of this, but it does not have a clutch. It's $85, but like I said, there's no clutch. As long as you have a clutch, you're good. That way, and you need to use it. That way you're not, stripping out screws, you're breaking screws. I've broken screws on wheels and stuff, like the 1.5 mil stuff all the time. That kind of thing. So, learn to use your clutch. Clutch is your friend. But you don't have to spend a ton of money, really. And it's funny because Greg, RC driver guy, right? With the big, I think he's king of the heap now, or one of them, whatever. He's got a Makita, and those are nice units. I wish I'd gone with a Makita. That's a 7.4 volt, but they run. I think the lowest price I saw today was a hair under $200. That's a lot of money to be, and that's really kind of more of a commercial grade. Not that this isn't. This is a great. This DeWalt's awesome. But I worked for a company. I used a commercial grade one of these, and it was, I think, like 9 to 12 volts, if I remember right. It's a bigger unit, and it's for commercial assembly. So it's got a clutch on it, the whole 9 yards. I was actually looking for one of those, but they're a lot bigger than this guy. You're gonna get more miles out of something like this, I think, than anything else. And if you do a lot of wrenching, you got kids and they got trucks. These things are going to break all the time. It's a wise investment in the long run. Not that these aren't. I use these, but they're for a different purpose. I got about 5 of these. I was an assembler for about 10 years, so I've got lots of 12 volt stuff. And they're powerful, and these are also brushless. They're awesome, but for RC, not so much. Bits, there are tons of bits. I've got, like you've got in RC, you've got the 3 biggies, right? There's your. I don't see much SAE anymore. It's mostly metric. And, you got your big ones. You got your 1.5, your 2.5, and your 2 millimeter. These tips I invested in, they're MPs. No, they're, it is wise to invest in a good steel, hardened steel tipped, basically driver bits. Especially with RC, if you do a lot of this, it's a good idea. However, you can get an entire kit for under $10 off of Amazon, and they will range. This is one that's just busted up. It's a Nico, one of those fly-by-night Chinese things. But these go from, I think the biggest on this is a 5. No, it goes from 8 millimeter down to, I believe, 1.5. And it's not going to last you forever, but it'll get you by. And if you only got like 2 cars, so what? Plus, what's the nice thing about a nice set of bits is that if you have a good handle to put these in, like a regular handle, like this is an old one. This is an old Hofna. You have something like this old Hofna, it can be really handy. You just basically you throw that in your backpack with your bits, and you're good to go. Another thing that's kind of nice is obviously everything's 1/4-inch drive, so you could use extensions like this guy here. You don't have to, you don't have to go crazy with extension. You get something off of Amazon. I like these Milwaukees because there's a fancier one that I have, but these are just kind of like they're just slim. They get into the nooks and crannies a little bit easier, and they got a pretty good magnet in them, and they're not totally junk. But you can get a whole set of Harbor Freight for next to nothing. Yeah, stuff like that. While I'm here, the hand wrenches, hand drivers. I don't know what you call these things. Hand drivers, I guess. Stuff like this. I invested in ProTech off the bat, and that wasn't too bad. Vanquish makes one, and they're really cool, but the handles are really slim, and I have a hard time. I've got big mitts, so it's kind of a hard time to really get some torque on them. And obviously, these things are made like Swiss cheese for a reason. You could slam. You could put another wrench in it. There you go. You got extra torque. So if you kind of get in a jam, I got fancy and bought the little rings. I don't know. There's like an extra $15 for 3 of them. I mean, come on, it's a little silly, really, when you think about it. But it was. I think I paid about $50 for the base, and then as I need them, I get like nut drivers, 5.5 mil, and there's a 5 millimeter here. They're good for. These are good for doing steering adjustments on the Arma, that kind of thing. They're just kind of handy to have around. There's a 0.5 mil for the SCX24 stuff, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But to be honest with you, I bought Integy had a pretty good set. It was actually like 4 hand drivers, and it was less than $20 at the time. Integy, if you don't know, has a kind of a tradition of A, stealing other people's designs, and B, using really, really like the lousiest grade aluminum there ever was. The tips on these Integys, though, aren't bad. They're not going to last forever, and I ended up upgrading to these ProTechs. The ProTechs are pretty good tips, but I use the cheap set I put in my bug out bag. I'm going to do a separate video on this, but how to kind of get a little running bag where it has all your necessary tools and everything all good to go. But anyway, I use the cheap set and put it in there. I've tried those little, like Associated had those little sets where it's like a handle and all the tips. I just lose track of them. I don't know. I don't like using them for some weird reason. I have that off, and that I got. I think I got that in the 80s, like late 80s, early 90s. That thing's I've had for years, and it's been great. And obviously it fits everything, 1/4 inch. It's not a big deal. But, I'd just rather use a regular wrench. That's just me. Anyway, I wanted to throw this out there. I'll probably do some other stuff as I think of it. Just try to make these quick. And because I've got, wrenches and turnbuckle stuff. And, I don't know. Not screwdrivers so much, but tweezers and hemostats and all kinds of goofy crap I've used through the years. And I'm like my dad. My dad had a cabinet shop that I worked in, and it was a one-person cabinet shop. It was just him. So it was almost like porn. He was just so into tools, and it's amazing. But he was like one of those. It didn't have to be creme de la creme, but he's like he never bought cheap tools because that's how he made his living, like anybody else. So just wanted to pass that out there. There's no shame in using a cordless drill on your RC. I'm not insinuating that at all. But if you find yourself wrenching or thinking about projects that you have coming up ahead, and be good to yourself. Buy yourself something that you like to use, not so much what YouTube tells you to use. But here I am on YouTube telling you to use something. So listen to me, don't listen to me. It's up to you. Anyway, hope you guys have a great week, and I don't know, I'll probably fart out another video here pretty soon. I should say like and subscribe. I guess that's the usual stuff. I always want new subscribers. I'm trying to get more content out as we go. So Yeah, so that's it. Hope you guys have a great day.